Hi guys, Ash from Tech Talk. About a week ago I did a unboxing video of the Motorola Moto G9 Plus. So this is now my more in-depth review. I've used this phone as my personal phone for around a week or so. It's had my SIM card in it. I've been taking some pictures, a bit of video, watching some YouTube, Netflix, testing out the battery, see how long that lasts. So if you're interested, stick around and I can let you know whether this is a good phone to buy now or whether you should choose something else. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is my more in-depth review of the Motorola Moto G9 Plus. I've gone through an unboxing video. I'll link for that down below in the description so you can check that out as well. I'll just go through some of the specs briefly. So we have a 6.8 inch LCD display on the front with a resolution of 2400 by 1080. That's good for 386 pixels per inch. This configuration I have here is a 4 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage. There isn't actually an option for any storage any less than that, so that's quite good with this one. If I flip it over, you've got the quad camera setup on the back, which consists of your 64 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then you've got a 2 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel depth sensor as well. If I flip it over to the front, you've got a 16 megapixel front facing camera, which is tucked up here in the top left hand corner, and that's a f2.0 lens camera. Inside you have a 5000 milliamp battery, which supports 30 watt fast charging through the USB-C port on the bottom, and also on the bottom you have your microphone and your speaker grill. Unfortunately there's no stereo speakers on this, so it is just from that bottom firing speaker. So my usage for this, to be honest, as to be expected from a 6.8 inch display, the phone is very large, and those with small hands will definitely find it hard to use one-handed, myself included, as I don't have very large hands at all. The screen does stretch from edge to edge. There's a rather sizable chin on the bottom. Unfortunately they couldn't take the screen right the way to the bottom, and there is a little bit of a chin at the top as well. The sides are a lot slimmer. It's also quite heavy at 223 grams, and it is quite thick at 9.7 millimeters, which is a lot of that is probably to do with the 5000 milliamp battery that's inside. I do like the unibody design though. Quite often with a lot of the plastic phones, you have a separate plastic back and then plastic rails around the side, but this is all very smooth. It is very reflective though. It is very much a fingerprint magnet, as if I can get the light right, there you go, you can definitely see. So you might want to throw a case on it. Obviously you do get the included clear case on the bottom in the box, so you can pop that on until you get something a bit more sturdy and a bit more substantial as well. The phone comes in two colours. Obviously this is the blue version, which they call indigo blue. They also do a rose gold version as well. Going back onto the display, Motorola don't actually mention any sort of Gorilla Glass protection, so I would definitely recommend getting a screen protector, as there isn't one pre-applied, which you do sometimes find with some of the cheaper phones. The camera design on the back, it is changed a little bit from the G8. The G8, the 4 cameras were arranged in a vertical design, whereas this is more of a square. You've got 3 cameras there and 1 over on the right hand side as well. The choice of the camera resolution is a bit strange. We've got a 64 megapixel main sensor here, up from the 48 megapixel on the G8 Plus. However, the ultra wide angle uses an 8 megapixel sensor, down from a 16 on the Moto G8 Plus. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects the results. And then there's obviously the standard 2 megapixel depth sensor and macro camera thrown on the back as well, which seemed to be an obligatory thing for phones of this price point. One thing I do want to bring up about the two megapixel lenses, it does make me wonder if companies didn't include these on the back. So if it, in this case, if it was just a 64 megapixel lens and an 8 megapixel ultra wide, would the pricing be much different? Obviously, I don't know how much they cost to put on, but they seem to be on every single cheap phone there is these days. So I am curious as to whether the price would be any different if they just didn't include them. So I mean, I'm curious to know what you guys think. So if you've got any opinions on it, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment. And also, if you're enjoying this video, a sub to the channel would be really good and greatly appreciated. As I said before, on the bottom of the phone, there's a single firing speaker, USB-C port and microphone there. And up top, there is the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is normally still included on budget phones these days. So 6.8-inch screen, which is obviously very, very large. It obviously makes this phone ideal for watching movies and videos on. As I said before, it's a 1080p panel with a resolution of 2400 by 1080, which should be plenty sharp enough for everyday use. The battery on this phone, as to be expected, is very good. The 5000 milliamp battery will easily get you through a full day with heavy use. Light users could easily see this into a second day. And luckily, when you do run low, the included 30-watt charger can get your phone from 0 to 50% in around 30 minutes, and a full charge from 0 will take about an hour and a quarter. So it's not too bad, but obviously most people charge their phones overnight anyway. Motorola have been a company known for offering near stock Android experience, which, as you can see here, is there's no skin on the top, no bloatware installed, and that, along with the Snapdragon 730G, which is included in the phone, makes everything really smooth. Apps open really quickly, the gesture works really quickly as well, so there's no lag or anything like that. If you're an intense gamer, you might find the odd stutter here and there, but general use, it's going to be very smooth. You're not going to notice anything lagging. That's the word I'm thinking of. The 730G obviously is a bit of an older chip. It still packs a punch though. So it's built on an 8nm fabrication and is an octa-core processor. So you've got two 2.2 gigahertz cores and then 6 clocked at 1.8 gigahertz as well. And the Adreno 618 handles all your graphics as well. From my day-to-day use, I didn't notice any hiccups opening apps. Everything ran really smooth, so no complaints from me. I'm not a heavy gamer personally, so I'm not always in need of a phone with a really powerful processor. I mean, although saying that, I've got an iPhone 12, which I'm actually filming this video on as well. So, but yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't need anything really, really powerful. If you are a heavy gamer though, you might find that the any phones with the Snapdragon 765G found in the Moto One 5G, or the 750G found in the Moto G 5G may be a better choice. That was a lot of G's, too many for one video. Anyway, so briefly onto the camera. I found photos from the main camera to be about right for this price range. Nice punchy colours, good detail and dynamic range. The ultra wide camera though is not so good, but to be honest, that's not really a surprise from phones that, you know, at this price point that include them. They're generally not that great. The colour temperature is completely different and they significantly lack detail. On a bright day is where you're likely to yield the best results, but again, that's with most phones. But yeah, I mean, if the light goes down even slightly, then you don't get great results at all. The 2 megapixel macro camera surprised me actually. It's not bad. Obviously 2 megapixels, the resolution is not high at all. You're not going to get a huge amount of detail, but the odd picture that I did take, I will post some pictures at the end of the video in a little slide, so you can have a look at what the camera is capable of. I mean, and to be honest, I'm one of them, but I would imagine most people are probably just going to forget that the macro camera is even there anyway. Yeah, I would probably generally just stick to the main camera on this one. Video wise, on the main camera, tops out at 4K at 30 frames per second, while the front facing 16 megapixel camera tops out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So you should get some really high quality video from this as well. Some phones on this price, main cameras will top out at 1080p, so it is nice to see 4K coming out of this camera as well. So overall, I think the Moto G9 Plus is a very, very good all-round phone with good performance, a nice display, and the battery life has been really, really good. I've easily got through a day and gone into 2 days. I mean, my SIM's not in it now, but it's on 59%. That's with a reasonable amount of usage with the camera, playing social media, playing a few videos, etc. So it's really, really not that bad. The camera's good. I mean, if you avoid the ultra wide camera, because as I said before, that's not the best, for the price that I paid, which is £179, there's not a lot that you can complain about on this phone. If you are doing a bit of shopping around though, there are other phones around this price that do boast some impressive specs, even some that do top those of the Moto G9 Plus. Probably the biggest competition for this phone is the Poco X3 NFC. It starts at £199 for the 6GB and 64GB model, which storage wise isn't better, but for this you get a 6.67 inch display with 120 Hz refresh rate. It has official Gorilla Glass 5 glass on the front, and a very slightly upgraded Snapdragon 732G processor, which, to be honest, day to day you're not going to notice between that and this one here. You also get stereo speakers, IP53 splash resistance, and it also comes with Xiaomi's MIUI skin on top. So if you're a stock Android user, this might be a deal breaker, but otherwise you're not gonna notice any difference. That's obviously going to be very fluid as well. So like I said, the Moto G9 Plus is a very good phone, and I'd still recommend it today, especially, like I said, as most users just use it for a bit of video playing, social media, the odd picture here and there. You're not going to be disappointed. So I hope this video helps and gives you a bit of info on this phone and to whether you should go out and buy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe.